Before I begin this overview of the Canon wireless flash system, I need to say a few words. And even though what I'm going to say may sound completely ridiculous, it's not a joke. Those people who have watched my photography videos know that I'm quite interested in flashes and lighting. And I've been meaning to do this video for quite a long time, I just haven't got around to doing it. If I'd done it last year, there wouldn't have been a problem. But because of political events this year, there is a problem. In a wireless flash system, one device controls other devices, and there are standard industry terms to describe this. However, it is these terms that I'm now not allowed to use. If I do use them, this video will most likely be deleted by YouTube. There are people running chess channels on YouTube and having videos deleted for the same reason. This has given me something of a dilemma. How do I explain a wireless flash system when I'm not allowed to use the standard industry terms? So what I've done is I've created some new terms. In this video, I will refer to devices that are controlled by other devices as sheep. And I will refer to the devices that control the sheep as border collies. In my flash videos, I've made the point that a little fill flash can really improve a photo. However, when a flash unit is mounted on a camera just above the lens on the same axis of the lens, the light reflected straight back into the lens is very harsh. It can result in unflattering portraits, red eye and harsh shadows. One way to improve the lighting will be to take the flash off the camera and put it just to one side of the subject. An even better solution will be to have another light source on the other side. This way you'd have much more balanced lighting and you would cancel out shadows. A further improvement could be made by having a third light source to illuminate the background so that your subject doesn't appear against a dark background. And ideally, we would want the ability to vary the ratio of light between the light sources, and we don't want wires trailing all over the floor, so we want the system to be controlled wirelessly. What I've just described is exactly what the Canon wireless flash system is capable of doing. I need to point out that what I'm explaining is the older optical pulse light wireless flash system. It's not the radio frequency system that newer Canon flashes use. They do basically the same thing, but the range is much greater. This is a schematic of the system, and I'll just go through some of the notes I've made. The system has 4 channels, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and the idea of this is that if 2 people are using the same system in the same vicinity, they can use different channels and then they won't interfere with each other. The light sources are divided into 3 groups, and you can have as many flashes as you want in each group. The minimum is just 1 flash in one group, but if you want you can have 10 flashes in A, 10 flashes in B and 10 flashes in C. There's no limitation. Groups A and B illuminate the subject, and the ratio of light can be changed between A and B to give different effects. And the idea of Group C is to illuminate your background. Various devices can be used to control the system. I'll come on to those in a few seconds. But if you use the STE2 speedlight transmitter, that can only control Groups A and B. It can't control Group C. The range is fairly limited, around 12 meters. And it works better indoors because the optical light gets reflected off of walls and ceilings. Any settings that you use on the controlling device, such as high-speed sync, flash exposure lock, flash exposure bracketing, stroboscopic flash, anything like that will be transmitted to the other units. One of the things you need is a device to control the system, and this can be a flash unit, a speedlight transmitter, or a camera with a pop-up flash and an integrated speedlight transmitter. Now this excludes the EOSM system, which I use, that doesn't have an integrated speedlight transmitter, and it also excludes all of the Canon full-frame cameras that don't have pop-up flashes. Getting into wireless flash photography is probably easier than cheaper than you imagine, and if you have any of the products on this list, you're halfway there already. The other thing you'll need is a flash or flashes that can be controlled by a controlling device. I've put this list together, but it may not be complete. There may be other flashes that have that capability. You'll need to check your user manual. Now that I've been through the theory, let's look at a practical application. The first thing we need to do is to decide which equipment we're going to use and set it up appropriately. And with the equipment I've got, I can use one of three devices to control the system. I can use this 550EX flash, I can use the STE2 speedlight transmitter, or the 90EX. Now the flash I'm going to use as one of my light sources, so I can't use that to control the system. I could use this, and this is quite nice because all the controls are external. It's easy to set up and quite intuitive. However, I'm going to use this little flash, and I'll go through the setup in a minute. Now we've got 4 channels, and we can use any of the channels, 1, 2, 3 or 4, but all of the devices need to be set up on the same channel. And what I'm going to use channel 1, and I'm just going to put one of these flashes into group A and one into group B, and let's go through the setup now. Please bear in mind that as we go through this, you will see the standard industry terms used in a wireless flash system. But if I say one of those terms, there's a good chance this video will be deleted. So I'm going to have to try and modify my vocabulary. This is one of my light sources. And the first thing I need to do is to tell it that it will be controlled by another device. And to do that, I need to change this switch at the bottom. So at the moment it's in off. So I've got to move it right across. And in this mode, it will be controlled by other devices. Now if we look at the display, it's already set correctly. It's in channel 1 and group A, but I'll show you how to change that. We just use the select set button, and that cycles first through flash exposure compensation. Press it again, it goes into channel, and to change it just use these buttons. So it's on 1 at the moment, 2, 3, 4, and then back again, 3, 2, 1, and then press select set again, and the group display starts to flash. It's on A where I want it, so press these buttons again, B, C, and back again, B, A. Once you've finished, press select set again, and all those settings will be saved, and this device now is ready to go. The 430EX2 that we want to put into group B isn't quite as intuitive as the 550EX. First you need to press and hold the zoom button, then it goes into this mode, and press zoom again. It cycles through the flash zoom that we don't want. Press it again, it goes into channel, and then using these 2 buttons we can move through the channels. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back again to 1. Press zoom again, and it goes into the groups. It's on A at the moment, B, C, and back to B is where we want it. And then press zoom again to save those settings. And now this one is all ready to go as well. With this little 90EX I'm going to use to control the system, there are no external controls, so I need to do all the settings through the camera menu, but that's not too difficult. Let's go into menu, external speedlight control, then go down to flash function settings. ETTL, evaluative through the lens metering, is fine. You need to make sure that optical transmission is on. If it's not on, then it won't control the other flashes. Flash exposure compensation at 0 is fine at the moment. It's already on channel 1, which is what we want. If you need to change that, just go in there and choose the channel you need, but that's fine. I'm not going to be using group C, just A and B. And for the moment, I'm just going to stick to a ratio of 1:1 so that each flash is putting out the same amount of light. If I don't get the images I want, I could change the ratio, and I could also change the flash exposure compensation. But at the moment, I'm just going to leave it like this. So now this is all set up, my flashes are all set up, and we're all ready to go. This is my setup, and my model today is going to be Ellie. Say hello, Ellie.
Hello.
Okay, so we've got her against a very bright background. So I'm going to do this in stages. The first shot I'm just going to take without a flash using a centre weighted average meter reading. And although our eyes are quite good at adapting to different dynamic ranges, cameras aren't. So what's going to happen is that the camera will meter for the background, which is very bright, and underexpose the subject severely. For the next shot, I'm going to take a spot meter reading of my subject to make sure that her face is exposed correctly. But then what that's going to do is completely blow out the background. For the third shot, I'm just going to pop a flash on the camera. That should sort out the exposure, so the subject and the background exposure should be balanced, but I expect the lighting will be quite harsh. And then for the final shot, I'm going to use the wireless flash system. I've got one flash here and one flash here. Conveniently, I've got desks to put them on. If you haven't got desks, you can use light stands, or if you're doing something like a wedding, you can get an assistant to hold the flashes at a slight angle to the subject. And what I'm hoping for is that when I use the wireless flash system, the subjects in the background will be balanced, and also the lighting won't be as harsh as when the flash was on the camera. This is the shot taken without a flash using centre-weighted average metering. And as you can see, the camera is exposed for the background and the subject is severely underexposed. For this shot, I took a spot meter reading on the subject's face, and although her face is now properly exposed, the background is horribly blown out. This is the on-camera flash, and although the exposure for the background and the subject is now balanced, because the flash is on the same axis as the lens, it looks a bit harsh and her face looks a bit shiny. Here's my first attempt with the wireless flash system, and it hasn't quite worked. You can see there are quite wide shadows either side of her nose, and that's because where I sat the flashes on my desks, they're too wide apart. And quite often you don't get things right first time. It often takes several attempts to get the image you want. For the second attempt, I took the flashes off the desks and put them on light stands, and I've moved them in a lot closer. They're still off the axis of the lens, but they're a lot closer together than they were sitting on the desks. This is my second attempt with the wireless flash, and as you can see, those shadows at the side of her nose look a lot better. There's still good balance between the subject and background exposure, and there's not the same harshness as there was with the on-camera flash. So I'm fairly happy with this result. To recap, I apologise once more for all this stupid nonsense with vocabulary. But these videos take quite a long time to make. And if YouTube are going to delete my video for saying the wrong word, it's just a complete waste of time. So I have to really watch what I say. I hope this was useful. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And if you would like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. And thanks for watching.